Thank you very much. Happy to be here. My name is Bert Lerk. I'm the chairman, the independent chairman of the Holland E-Mobility organization. That is a public-private partnership between local government, central government, enterprises, non-governmental organizations, technical universities, grid companies, energy companies, and I think I have them all. And what we do is, on the one hand, we are an official advisory committee of the Ministry of Infrastructure and Climate, and we are a partnership between all those organizations, and we advise the Minister on the policy on electric mobility. In the Netherlands we have a long-standing tradition that when we have either far-reaching decisions to make in society or disruptive changes in society, we always try to organize public support in our society. And the Holland E-Mobility is such an organization in the field of electric mobility. On the one hand, the government or our parliament asks questions. What would Holland E-Mobility advise us to do? And the way we work is we have formal sessions about 6 times a year, and we have a lot of working groups. So we have a working group on charging infrastructure, we have a working group on our international affairs, because as frontrunner on e-mobility, we also support Netherlands companies abroad. We have a working group on communication. We have lots of working groups, and we try to advise the ministry or the government on to reach public support between all those stakeholders on the policy for the government. For example, charging infrastructure, and then especially the public charging infrastructure. We advise the ministry, but also local governments on their policy for charging infrastructure. So what are we going to do as a municipality or as a province or as a country as a whole? Where do we, what is necessary to have on public charging infrastructure? And perhaps as important or even more important, who is going to finance that? So we negotiated with the Ministry of Economic Affairs on the financial arrangements necessary to have charging infrastructure not only in the bigger cities in the Netherlands, but also in other areas where charging infrastructure is not a profitable business case at this moment. Another example, the fiscal arrangements in the Netherlands are so organized that we have mainly electric cars for company cars, and we have hardly any electric cars for consumers. And we, on the request of the Netherlands Parliament, we made a suggestion or a proposal how to organize this policy in such a way that it is also possible for consumers to buy an electric car. In the Netherlands, we have the 10% of worldwide charging infrastructure is found in the Netherlands. So we are the most densely charged country in the world as far as charging infrastructure is concerned. It's important to have interoperability because it's one of the instruments to tempt the consumer to use an electric car, because you are able in the Netherlands to charge your car and to pay your charging bill with one identity card. So you don't need to have a wide range of cards to charge where you are. In the Netherlands, you can do it with one card. And of course, that is for a consumer who's always anxious where to charge and if it's able to charge with his card. You don't have that anxiety in the Netherlands. And why did we do it? On the one hand for the consumer, but on the other hand, we think that all those batteries are a part of our energy system. So it's very profitable to charge your car either on a later moment when the energy price is low, or when you want to have it charged immediately, you pay a little bit more. We call that smart charging. And then it's necessary that all those charging stations are connected. So you might say the charging infrastructure in the Netherlands is a internet of energy. They are all connected, which makes it possible for customers to pay with one card. It's more efficient and it's profitable for the companies. Well, you might say that's the secret of the Holland e-mobility. Well, you know, we have a lot of opinions in Holland e-mobility. I think I forgot that, but also the automotive industry is a member of our Holland e-mobility, and they're not sure if we are able to have sufficient cars to be delivered for consumers and for company cars. And on the other hand, you have the NGOs who would like to have it as soon as possible. And one of the advantages having a platform as we have, or a public-private partnership, is that behind closed doors, we tell each other the truth. So that's not always convenient for all the partners around the table, but we all agree that at the end of the meeting we will have one opinion. And sometimes that's a majority opinion, but mostly we agree. There's almost always consensus. So that's not a negotiating process, but that's understanding what other parties at the Holland e-mobility table think, what their problems are, where they see obstacles, and try to make arrangement to solve those obstacles. And we do that behind closed doors, but we have almost always consensus. That's the way we work in the Netherlands. I always say, when I make this, I always give the example, it is in our genes, because, not your genes, but our genes, we were born about 3.5 meters below sea level. And when you fight the sea, the only thing you can do is working together. So we are born in trying to agree on consensus. But I just visited an American conference in Portland, Oregon, and we had a special session which was called the Dutch approach. And what is obvious for the Netherlands, the way we work, is not as obvious for other countries, either European or American or wherever. So we always, well, we don't teach, but we tell them the way we organize, and that it's worthwhile investing in upfront, trying to agree on things, trying to having a consensus on what you want to reach and what instruments you need. Sometimes, mostly, that takes more time than you wish, but afterwards it's easier to enroll your process. And that's what we always explain abroad. And we are jealous because, you know, when you go to the States, you have lots of money for charging infrastructure, and we always have to, you know, scrap the money, try to convince the stakeholders to invest also. And they always find it very interesting to see how we organize a process like e-mobility. I think there will be a single charging station, a single charging standard in Europe. Of course, we in the Netherlands, we say it's essential to have open standards because it's for everybody. We say that also because we don't have a automotive industry, and we were the first. So we have the idea we can convince or work together with European players, with American players on open standards and open protocols. It's not upfront sure that they will be convinced it's essential to have an open standard. But in the end of this process, which may take another 5 or 10 years, I'm convinced that all parties concerned will go into open standards.